It's a big adventure for us, and service is what our company is all about, and we know you're not going to be disappointed.
All right. Well, we'll write that down and remind you as necessary.
And you'll know if we are.
And so once again, I look forward to it. I'm thinking from what I've heard going into it that we probably will have great service from you, and it will be a good relationship. So, anything else from staff? We're good to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I presume that we need a motion.
Second.
All right. So Mr. Copen has made a motion, seconded by Mr. Nephew, to approve the recycling contract as presented to us in our packet with Tennis Sanitation LLC. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? It's ayes all. Then we move on to the second reading of the Domestic Partnership Ordinance. And so, Alan, do you want to recap?
This is, again, the second reading, actually, of the Domestic Partner Ordinance. We had first reading at last meeting. Staff was asked to change only a couple of things from the first go at this, most notably the setting of fees, which we're going to call out in the ordinance by resolution from time to time as required, which will require the city clerk to monitor the actual costs of administering the program, and as needed, the fees that will be set will come back presumably for increase, not for decrease, but it does give staff authority to bring it back instead of having to change the ordinance every time. That was the intent there. That's really the only material change. Staff has nothing more to offer other than if you'd like to see any other changes, it is here for your second reading. We'd stand for questions.
Any member of the council? Kathy does. Ms. Juneman.
First of all, I appreciate the fact that this is not wordy and it gets to the point, and it is good wording. Thank you.
It's hard for me to do.
Work on that. I know, and then being an attorney and all, it's tough. No, really, I appreciate the fact that it's very straightforward, and you've cleaned it up really well, so I appreciate that. And just so you're aware and other people are aware, we all, or at least I received 3 emails the past 2 weeks from people who are saying, good for you, this is what we need to be as in an accepting community, and people are glad to see us doing something of this nature. So obviously people are listening.
Any other comments from the council? No one had signed up to speak at this particular item, and so what's the pleasure?
I move the second reading.
Hey, got to snap it out quicker than that, Mr. Nephew.
Dang. Because I had this candy in my mouth. Marv's plot worked.
I love the strategy. It's working.
Ms. Juneman has made a motion. It was seconded by Mr. Nephew.
I'll be the second then.
And it would be to approve the second reading of the ordinance, which would be the Domestic Partnership Ordinance. Mr. Lannis.
Just one question for Mr. Cantrud and staff. Should the ordinance pass, perhaps as a matter of record, you could talk about when this would be available to residents and when staff would be prepared to accept that sort of
Certainly,
question.
Mayor and Council, before the vote, if it's appropriate, we will, upon passage, of course, publish it in the local newspaper, and it essentially, like most ordinances in the city, is effective upon publication. So people can probably start coming in and ask to be on that as soon as tomorrow if they wanted to. In terms of actually being effective, I'd probably wait 2 weeks or a month, then come in.
I would echo the 2 weeks into the emphasize the month part, I think, just to give time for the staff to have some idea that we've done something, and so they don't have a lot of people saying, what is it you're talking about? And so a little education of the staff. But it shouldn't take too much to start creating a list, but we need some documents too, I presume. And so, Schofield, you want to comment on any of that? No, you're good.
Mayor and Council, I'll just add that I did send some draft documents from other cities that are participating, so I would expect that we'll modify those. So we've got a good head start on that too. and we
All right.
expect the registry will be held in more of an electronic format, so.
Okay. Well, we have a motion that had been made by Ms. Juniman, seconded by Mr. Nephew for the second reading. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed?
No.
Okay, so we have 4 ayes, 1 nay. Okay. That moves us into new business, and the first item is to consider approval of a financing plan and exclusive contract for solar panel installation at the Maplewood Community Center. Mr. Antonin.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, what you have here is a financing plan exclusive contract for solar panels to be installed on the Maplewood Community Center. As I understand it, there has been another spreadsheet put out by ECS, Electrical Consulting Solutions, and as I understand it, there has been some changes made in this. Basically, what this is, and it's alluded to that this is a fairly complex financing mechanism, but it's basically to utilize existing state grant, rebates from Xcel Energy, and some federal tax credit investments to basically provide the necessary funds to place, I believe it's a 39 kW or thereabouts photovoltaic system on the community center. Our portion is basically the difference between what the cost of energy is normally for the community center and our savings. There's a small gap in the financing that does require some city investment. And so basically, the premise we're working on is that through these grants, rebates, investment tax credits, that the city would be able to place these photovoltaic panels on the MCC, and our cost would only be the difference between what the energy costs would normally be for the MCC and the savings by these photovoltaic panels. As I originally understood, the payback was between 5 and 7 years. In your report, it says 2 years, 3 months. I'm not sure if that's exactly accurate. There has been some questions on the financing, the legal arrangements, et cetera, et cetera. Fortunately, tonight we have with us Michael Kraus from Candy, Ojai Solutions for a Small Planet. Michael was the grant writer for this grant, and Michael has been visiting with legal counsel, Bob Long in particular, and Parsons, and I believe also has a good handle on the manufacturers of the solar panels, the photovoltaic panels, which is a Minnesota business and is using reflective material from 3M. And so I would ask the council indulgence for Michael to kind of give a little bit brief overview of what we're about to proceed upon, and then hopefully be able to answer any questions the council has. And the recommendation is the council would be to authorize the mayor and city manager to enter into these contracts, and I think since there is some question on the financing, the exact amount, that if the council is of a mind, we can, one, bring this back later on, or through the good graces of the mayor and myself, get it straightened out with that basic premise that utilizing these grants, loans, rebates, and the savings from the cost of electricity, that we would go ahead and sign the necessary papers in order to get on track to receive these rebates and to participate in the state loan. So hopefully I haven't confused everyone on this. Be happy to answer any questions, and then I'd refer to Michael Kraus for this expertise.
Michael, we have one council question that we'll see exactly what it is. Mr. Lannis?
Just as a quick question, I'm sure there's been some conversation about the condition of the roof itself at the community center, and if this were to proceed and those panels were to be placed and we would receive the grant and so on, what would be the implications of having that in there and then having the roof needing to be replaced or a repair done to the roof? That's my first question. My second question, and I don't mean to upset the apple cart, Mr. Anthony, I'm just trying to get a couple of questions.
No, this is a good question.
The second question is Parsons Electric the only one eligible for these type of grants, or is this a sort of a bid situation that the city would have to ask other similar type companies to prepare a similar type bid and submit? Is it, because, can you narrow that down?
Sure. In response to your first question, as I understand it, the installation of this new system does not require, I guess, the major piercing of the membrane of the community center. So therefore, I'm sure there is some anchorage there, but it can be easily removed. It's not piercing the structure and the membrane to where if repairs have to be made, the panels can be taken off and whatever repairs need to be done. So I think we're fairly confident that that it's going to be a while before the roof is not in that bad a shape. It's going to have to be addressed shortly in a number of years, but at this juncture, the solar panels or photovoltaic panels on the roof are not a major concern to staff at this time. And I believe also these have to be signed off by a structural engineer too, so that's just not simply guessing. We have to have that evaluation done. The second part is I believe that this was a effort Parsons or any other company could participate, but I think the put together this financing arrangement, so it's exclusive in that regard that Parsons is working with the state on the grant, the energy rebates, the investment tax credits, but I believe it probably opened up originally to any electrical contractor. But for our part, and I think the city attorney can probably elaborate that further, this is exclusive in that regard.
Mayor? Mayor and Council, ideally I would think this would probably be called what's called a guaranteed energy savings contract, and I haven't seen the numbers that would really show that yet, but I mean, we're kind of in the infancy of this discussion, and it's kind of an exploration to see if you'd like to go forward. But cities are authorized as a statutory city under 471 to actually enter into such contracts, and as long as there's a guarantee that you're going to save money under a couple of different formulae, it's not subject to competitive bidding, and that's an exception that's been carved out by the legislature. It does, however, require a written guarantee that that is the case. And I haven't seen enough about the numbers or about the way this is going to, play out to see if that's something that Parsons or anyone else involved could actually make that guarantee to you or to us. So that would be one of our sort of due diligence inquiries that we'd make. And based on what I've seen, I don't think that anyone tonight can guarantee us quite that. But that would get us around the competitive bidding requirement. Okay. If that answers your question, Council Member? Okay.
Ms. Shinman.
Well, you did sort of confuse me, but I started out confused, so I had a head start. But there's a couple points in here where, and you just brought it up again, where we're just getting into this, and so it's the early stages. But I'm a little uncertain as to if we say we want to pursue this, how committed are we? I mean, is there a point where we say, okay, we've reconsidered and it doesn't seem to be falling into place like we thought, and